Hello there, folks. A bit of comic relief for you here. You would have thought it completely impossible for a discussion between two supposed adults about decisions made by the parole board could descend into a squabble one would expect to see in a nursery playground. But I suppose anything is possible when the man-child that is Kevin O'Sullivan is involved. The parole board are tasked with making difficult, often unpalatable decisions, and I'd be a fool to argue I would like to see John Venables back on the streets. He is clearly a disturbed individual, not just based on what he did to James Bulger, but also his subsequent offences with child images that have seen him twice recalled for breaching the terms of his licence, having been twice previously paroled. But quite clearly I am not an expert in the field. Thus my involvement in the parole process is nil, and that's exactly how it should be. Sure, I can have an opinion, we all can, but we shouldn't be lobbying MPs and ministers to either discredit or overrule the parole board. Now then, Kevin O'Sullivan invited Colin Sumner, a retired Cambridge professor of criminology, onto Talk TV to discuss this very subject, and it quickly descended into the playground farce as earlier described. Colin Sumner, and fair play to him for this, simply cannot stomach the right-wing tripe that is Talk TV, and he calls them out for it. Okay, perhaps he doesn't call them out with much grace, and it gets quite petty at times, but it's completely understandable why. Criminology is his field of expertise, and he is debating criminology with a person whose area of expertise is entertainment gossip. So, without further ado, we will get into this, but just note how unbelievably childish Kevin O'Sullivan is. It's utterly tragic stuff. Let's take a look.
Colin Sumner, welcome to the show. Yeah, this is an intriguing situation, isn't it? A lot of people would like John Venables to never come out, including poor Jamie's mother, Denise. But he fears that he's being bounced down the path and may well never get his chance to get parole before the Victims and Prisoners Bill becomes an act, and then various secretaries of state will be able to rule on whether or not he should be released. And then he fears he never will be released. Well, people won't really care about that, will they?
Well, no, I don't think anybody would particularly be excited about the idea of him being released.
No,
that's not the point, no.
Well, what is the point?
The point is that we have the most punitive laws in Europe, and that most countries in the world have a principle of doli incapax, which is that a child can't form an intent. And it's quite a matter of judgment to say that a 10-year-old can form an intent. Now, don't misunderstand me. I totally understand his mother. I mean, if it was me, if it was my son, I don't know what I would have done. I might have reached for the nearest machine gun, which thank goodness I haven't got. And there is a reason why we don't let parents dictate the operations of criminal justice. There are many reasons why we don't let them. And there are many reasons why we don't let the Daily Mail operate criminal justice. There are many reasons why we don't like politicians interfering in the operations of criminal justice. And that would be my biggest point, really. Do we really want politicians interfering in the operations of criminal justice?
Definitely. Rather than the parole board, definitely. Because
if it was Jeremy Corbyn, would you say that if it was Jeremy Corbyn?
What's that got to do with it?
He was a politician.
What's that got to do with it? Well, sure. Yeah, I'd rather him do it than the parole board. It keeps making a mess of it, doesn't it? Keeps letting people out.
So you don't trust the professionals who actually are in the business week in, week out?
No, because they let Colin Pitchfork out. They wanted to let John Warboys out.
Yeah, you can pick
They let Gary Glitter out. No, I don't trust them. Is that all right?
No, it's not all right, because the majority of decisions you don't report.
Yeah, well, why is it not all right not to trust them?
Well, because most of the time...
You're telling me that I should trust implicitly the parole board, are you? Why?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because it's their business. They're experts in the field.
Well, were they experts when they let Gary Glitter out after 8 years when he was doing 16 years for raping children? Were they experts when they wanted to let the
Are you an expert to talk about this?
No, I'm asking you. Were they? Yeah. What are you talking about? The Daily Mail? Stop talking about the Daily Mail. What is the point you're trying to make?
The point is, there's a very good
You're railing
reason
against
why
all these right-wing media outlets, aren't you?
You don't get the point, do you? It's the right-wing media that always wants.
Always the right-wing media. Blame the right-wing media.
If the left-wing media were in power, you wouldn't like it. You would talk about politicians interfering with professionals.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think the parole board does a very good job. So, if secretaries of state can make the final decision on whether or not to let Colin Pitchfork out, or Gary Glitter, or John Warboys, I think we'd be in a better situation.
Yes, but week in, week out, the parole board makes decisions, and we never hear you complaining about those.
Well, I don't know. I probably don't know.
If they make the odd mistake, don't you?
Huh?
I mean, and what's your competence to even talk about this?
Well, I'm a citizen of the country. I look at
so am I.
So that's my competence to talk about. I'm allowed to talk about it, aren't I?
Yes, you're allowed to talk about it.
Thank you very much. That's good of you. Why do you not want me to? Why do you not want to talk?
You've twisted my point.
Why do you not want me to talk about
it? What credentials have you got in the operations of criminal justice?
What's that kind of? What are you talking about?
You're just an ideologue. This is propaganda.
Really? I'm an ideologue.
Really?
Explain to me why I'm an ideologue, Colin.
Because you've already made your mind up before you start.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
I'm hearing you.
You've made up your mind that I've made up my mind.
Oh, well, I've had 40 years in criminology.
Yeah.
I taught at Cambridge, etc., etc.
And by the way, you said that John Venables should not be persecuted because he couldn't make a decision when he was 10 years old. That's not why he's in jail.
You see, that's why you shouldn't get involved. I didn't say that.
Well, okay then. Well, what's the problem with John Venables?
What I did say was that if it was my son who was killed, I'd have probably gone ballistic. I said, God help me, I'd have probably gone for the nearest machine gun. Mm-hmm. That's what I said.
Well, why is the parole board always wanting to let everybody out? Seems to be obsessed with letting people out.
But that's rubbish. It doesn't.
Yeah. Well, tell that to the victims of Gary Glitter's.
Oh, it has a job to do.
Huh? Well, it doesn't do it very well, does it? Why do they let Colin Pitchfork out? Why do they want to do it again? Why do they want to let him out again? He broke the terms of his parole 2 years ago. Now they're trying to let him out again. What is their obsession with letting out dangerous people?
Why is Britain the most punitive country in Europe and possibly the world?
It should be more punitive, and then maybe we'd solve the crime problem.
Ah, so you actually want Britain to be like the Tory government that we have in power? Punitive, ideological, right-wing, extremist?
What on earth are you talking about?
No, what are you talking about, my friend?
Yeah. What are you talking about? I want the country to be what? What did you...
Have you ever read any penology books? Do you not understand the difference between a punitive penology and a scientific one?
Yeah. What newspapers do you read, Colin? Let me tell you. The Guardian, right?
Oh, you don't like The Guardian, do you?
Of course not. It's rubbish.
Right.
Hopeless paper. But you love it, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely love it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Times and the Independent and most European newspapers. What? He recognises that this is a very difficult issue. It's not one for ranting about on some far-right extremist radio program.
Oh, go away. Go away. Get rid of this idiot, please. Okay, thanks very much, Colin Sumner. God, what a strange man.
It's just a shame this whole thing comes across as so petty, because I genuinely believe Colin Sumner lands some telling blows there. And putting myself in his shoes, if I went onto Talk TV and I was speaking to Kevin O'Sullivan or the Concrete Farmer or Julia Haight-Brewer, I would react in exactly the same way he's reacting here. You people are extremists. I'm the reasonable guy with expertise in this field. It's so hard to remain composed against such a torrent of drivel. It's just Kevin O'Sullivan's level of pettiness. It makes the whole thing look petty. He drags you down to the lowest level. Anyway, we'll just replay Colin Sumner's final 2 words. The audio didn't catch them, but I think they perfectly sum up how we all feel about Kevin O'Sullivan. And then we'll end it there. Let's have a look. Alright folks, cheers for watching. Take care of yourselves and I'll catch you again soon.